Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play cast, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. This is episode 251, recording on February 8th. You're watching it on the 9th or later. I'm Mike Byrne, aka magicman, your host for today, and we got shenanigans. I mean, wow, shenanigans to go through. Not the usual free-to-play shenanigans and bad PR and just... oh my god, psychics and Greece and universities and it just, yeah, shenanigans. Here to help us cover it, all my co-hosts with the most hosts. See, it doesn't work when you do it that way. Co-hosts with the most hosts. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Jason Winter, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm happy right where I am, but I mean, I don't think you can see him. I think the tank isn't all visible, but we have a snail that keeps trying to escape his tank.
Uh-oh.
And he like falls out of the tank. He gets out and he falls out and he like cracks his shell. And
this doesn't seem wise. This seems
no.
like...
I mean, we charge him pretty good rent. I mean, you know, I think we're pretty quiet. We don't disturb him that much when he tries to sleep. So
you don't have your music on late at night?
Yeah, I don't know what his problem is. Maybe it's other fish his roommates are. They just can't put up with them. Yeah.
Also on the line, Mr. Zach Sharps. What's up, Eagles?
Nothing much. Fly, Eagles, fly. I have to lift up my shirt. There we go. Got it. Okay. Yeah. I'm very happy.
Do we have to, like, throw him beads now, Jason? He's lifted the shirt and chuck some beads at him or something. I don't know how it works. Congrats to the Philadelphia Eagles.
If he was a Saints fan, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. Fantastic game. Definitely well-deserved. And the memes just keep rolling on the Super Bowl, by the way.
Tom Brady can't catch.
On the big game. Big game. I'm not allowed to say SB, right? Not allowed.
I think so. Yeah, we're gonna get content strikes now.
The big game. Anyway, let's get started with news that matters, but really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of the world. Free-to-play gaming. Everything's got to be in perspective, right? It matters for an entertainment value.
Sure.
Hype up the show. News that doesn't matter. Right here on the Free-to-Play
I'm
cast.
just thinking about, like, that's maybe not the best segue. Now let's talk
Stop
about
watching
shit.
our cast because it just doesn't matter.
Right. Now
Go
let's
do
talk
something
about
else.
shit that just doesn't matter. You know, let's just get your mind off the important shit for a little while. And that's what I view us as, a distraction. Wait, maybe that's not the best wording either.
just go with it.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. And speaking of fun stuff, our viewers already know, and we kind of talked in depth about Marvel Heroes and Gazillion and the whole fiasco between them and Disney and the game disappearing and refunds. And we covered it with Troy, who's a big fan of the game himself. Lots and lots of Marvel Hero fans upset about the way it went down. We've been through all of that, and we thought, you know, okay, besides a few bankruptcy things, right, that we're following up on as they happen, just to keep people posted, those suits, one of them, Jason, doesn't it come up later this month, the initial hearing?
Yeah, I want to say it was like the 23rd or something like that. I have to look that up.
Yeah, we're going to be keeping an eye on it. Remember, they were forced into involuntary bankruptcy. That's when your debtors know you can't pay them. Not that you're dodging them on the phone, but they flat out know, and they get two of their debtor buddies to come and say, you're bankrupt. So we'll be watching those, and we thought, you know, that'll generally be it. We'll watch how the court stuff plays out, and we didn't expect to see Marvel Heroes anywhere else, nobody picking it up or anything. There's so many licenses involved in that whole deal with Disney and Marvel themselves, and, you know, okay, fine. Sad to go, but the story's over. Or so we thought. Jason, we talked last week about Paragon and a petition to kind of bring those servers back online even if the game never changed. And we kind of speculated that, you know, we've seen crowdfunding and petitions and stuff before, and they never really go anywhere, but good luck to them. Mm-hmm. Well, we found out that Indiegogo, popular crowdfunding source, had a Marvel Heroes campaign on it, Zach. Somebody trying to bring back Marvel Heroes. And if you're a Marvel Heroes fan, that might be good news to you. And on the surface, it kind of looked that way initially, didn't it, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, when I first heard about this, I was like, oh, okay. You know, I was a little skeptical, like you said, with the whole petition thing. I'm like, probably isn't going to go anywhere. But, you know, kind of interesting. Let me look this over. Let me cover it. And it starts off very dramatically. It says, a sinister villain has shut down an iconic game. Fans are outraged. There is no relief in sight. Where is the hero destined to save the day and ease their suffering? Oh, it's you.
Yeah,
So yeah,
inspiring a little hope. And now, Zach, right away you kind of go, all right, how much do they need? And they're trying to hit 450,000 with stretch targets extending out to 900,000 in case they need to. And they had a couple of plans, right? You know, because what if we can't get the Marvel license, but we are able to buy this? What can we do with it? We'll strip all the Marvel stuff out of it. I mean, they had a couple of plans set forth, and it seemed on the surface to be okay. We don't expect it. I don't think any of the three of us, Zach, expected it to actually be funded or happen, because an important disclaimer, as far as anything publicly, Zach, these assets aren't for sale.
Yeah, they're not for sale. And on top of that, even if you strip all the Marvel stuff out of it, you pretty much have to recreate the entire game. I mean, it's not as easy as just stripping the Marvel assets, because that whole game is themed a specific way. So
yeah, I mean, fine, a generic level may be able to stand on its own, but every hero that you can take into there now has to be recreated or modified by hand from
instead
art
of Iron Man, you have Lead Man,
right? From art to animation to okay. So given, Zach, that it's going to be a very high level of work, assuming they can even buy assets that aren't for sale, as far as we know, Disney and Marvel aren't coughing it up or looking for a buyer. They may be behind closed doors, you know, pass their thing off to one of their guys. But as far as, hey, anybody want this, we don't think any of that type of stuff is going on. This would cost a lot of work, Zach. So I'm sure the first question you have is, what powerhouse studio could pick up a football this size and actually run with it, right, Zach? I mean, that's the first logical question.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would ask. And, you know, on the surface, you know, we see a beautiful sort of glass panel that we could stand on, but below it, as Jason found out, was a big pile of crap.
Well,
so.
Jason Age Games is behind this.
Yeah, and that's what I was just going to say, Jason. What powerhouse? It's got to be like Daybreak Games, right? Somebody with a lot of, hey, maybe Amazon Game Studio. Maybe they're trying, because, you know, they would totally crowdfund to do this if it were Amazon Game Studio. But what powerhouse studio is behind this, Jason?
It's Elder Mage Games.
Who the hell are they?
Well, no, hang on a second. Now,
never heard of them. Tell me again.
Before Marvel Heroes, had you ever heard of Gazillion?
Yes.
I mean, you know.
But
okay, well, my head. All right.
Not for huge products, but yes.
But okay, yeah. So Elder Mage. Maybe this is just sort of something I hadn't heard of before, or you know, again, it could be just some new company being made, brought together. Sometimes companies will bring together like a few people who did big things in the past, who worked for major companies. Our developers worked on this game, that game, have 500 years of gaming experience, whatever. So. All right, so I go to the Elder Mage site, and I'm trying to look up. It's kind of flashy looking. It's not too bad looking. Looks like it could be, an actual real site. And I try to find literally anything about any person behind any part of it, and there ain't none.
And that's where this sort of took an odd turn. Because initially it was just going to be a news story, Zach. Hey, there's a thing here. If you want to support it, go ahead. But in doing just a smidgen of diligence to say, okay, I want a few more details about this company that I can, fluff up a news piece that's basically one sentence. Let's make it 5 sentences, talk about some of the stuff this company's done or who's there. We can't find anything about the company, and it just snowballed from there, Zach. It just went nuts.
It did.
So I'm gonna skip.
He doesn't want to fall down the rabbit hole like I did.
I know like some of the brief specifics, but as far as like the whole like timeline of everything, yeah, it's a mess. It's a university, a random institute, and some guy's house shows up on Google Maps. Like, don't forget the finance minister of Greece. Who's actually involved in this
and running for governmental responsibilities and psychics and so what are we all talking about here? Well, this started with Jason saying, Mike, I want to talk to you about this. This looks a little odd. Can you take a peek at it and we'll touch base? So the next morning we're peeking at it. And we say, okay, well, who's this company? And he's, well, this is all I can find about this company. Okay, and now we're both digging into stuff, and we're trying to come up with the most outlandish thing possible to outdo what the other one has sent.
We're going back and forth like, holy crap, can you believe,
can you believe this? Can you believe this? Can you believe this? Can you believe this? Jason, kind of sum up, if you can, the big bullet points here of, you know, you want to be really careful before you accuse somebody of scamming and preying on nostalgia and things like that. But, Zach, I think it would be safe to say I wouldn't donate to this. No matter how big a Marvel Heroes fan, I would not donate to this.
Yeah, so
I think it's even safe to say, before Jason goes and talks about like the whole madness that the story is, I think it's also safe to say that under any libel laws, if you called it a scam, there's no way that they could prove that they weren't a scam. That's how horrible this whole thing is.
Yeah,
so
it is messy, and we're gonna show you why it's messy. If you haven't read the article on MMOBomb, please check it out. It is well worth the read, and we're finding out more and more and more as we go. And we've reached out to both Indiegogo and the person who put the campaign up. Predictably, no response from the person who put the campaign up. Still surprised that I haven't been able to get somebody from Indiegogo. I've tried email, I've tried Twitter today from our MMOBomb account. Still trying on that front. But yeah, predictably, the person who posted this hasn't responded as of the recording of this free-to-play cast. We'll certainly keep the piece updated if they do. But Jason, walk us through whatever the hell this is.
First, I find it interesting. You said go read this article on MMOBomb.com. Just make sure you read it there, but we'll get into that later.
I'm drinking and almost spit all over my microphone. We will get into why I put a little distinction on there.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so the organization behind this is Paragon Institute. Now, that's what it says right in the Indiegogo. They link themselves directly to that. So they have a link to Paragon Institute. Okay, so I go there. It appears to be some kind of like online university, which is kind of an odd entity to be, you know, funding the revival of an MMORPG.
Yeah, so you might expect, okay, are they technology-based university, like a game design school or something like that, right?
Yeah, and I couldn't get any information that they were anything specific or special like that or whatever. So,
nope.
Again, just like with the Indiegogo, I start looking around their website, look at their contact form, look at that sort of thing. Now, the contact that it gives there does not give a name, but it gives an address in North Carolina, 103 Schatz Court, Cary, North Carolina. Now, the name on top of the Indiegogo is what's his name, Gene Adkins, or Willis Atkins, Willis G. Atkins, and I found out that means Gene. Now, I do some information looking on him. It says he's in Cary. It says that right there on the Indiegogo. As I do little, searches online or whatever, I find his address is also 103 Schatz Court, the same address listed for Paragon University or Academy or Institute or whatever it is. So I just do a little Google search, Google house, Street View, and I get a house there, just some random house in a cul-de-sac. So now
keep in mind, in real time, this is going back and forth between Jason and I on Skype, going, this can't be. Wait, what is going? This can't be right. Go ahead, Jason.
So that's the address, certainly for Paragon Institute, Paragon Academy. And did I just lose my picture?
No, I'm bringing something up. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, good. So that's the address for this educational institute. So I think that's a little weird, right off. Now, also elsewhere on their page, they have a link for former Chadwick University students. So I'm like, yeah, there's the house right there. So they have a link for former Chadwick University students, which links to some, chadwicku.com, which is a dead link. So I start looking around. I'm okay, what is Chadwick University? Again, there's no, it doesn't have a website anymore. There's just a dead link. I do a little Google search, and I find that there is some connection between Chadwick and Paragon Institute. Like, the records of Chadwick are now being handled by Paragon Institute. So I'm like, okay, so there's certainly some official business-like connection between these two. As I look more into Chadwick, I found out it's basically a diploma mill, which is a sort of thing that you go and you just send them money and they send you a diploma based on your life experiences.
Yeah, I think we need to stop there for a second and let Zach chime in here. For our non-United States viewers, Zach, who have the benefit of, you know, universal health care and universal education and things like that. You want to take a second and talk about what a diploma mill or a for-profit college in the United States here is, given you're at the age of college students right now?
Yeah, so a diploma mill basically is like what Jason just outlined. You pay them money, they send you a diploma. It means absolutely nothing unless the recruiter that you're giving it to, or, you know, saying that you have this diploma, is just absolutely horrible and doesn't do their due diligence. For-profit colleges, on the other hand, which this also falls under, are colleges that appear to be universities that are legit, and they have some accreditations, they have some titles and stuff like that. But for the most part, when you get a degree there, it's not high-level education, and a lot of recruiters, once again, they don't really look at that degree as something that is, you know, remotely legitimate, unless it happens to be a for-profit university that's really, really well known. But there's not very many of those out there. Most of the time, it's like the ATT Techs, the art institutes and stuff like that tend to, you know, show up as very big scam schools, or at the very least very low educational standard schools. So
now, and Zach brought up a key word that I think we need to go into next, Jason: accreditation. In the United States, to be one of these entities, the laws vary by state as far as what licensing you have to technically call yourself a university or to offer educational degrees. But you don't necessarily, in some cases, have to be accredited by the United States government itself as far as being an accredited university. Now, our out-of-country viewers, you may be, particularly if you're a United States football fan, you may be familiar with University of Phoenix. I mean, they got the big Arizona Cardinals stadium. That is a huge for-profit, predominantly online, but does have campuses, school, and there are arguments for and against for-profit colleges in general, but that university does have its accreditation, and so while somebody may look down on a degree from there, it does have as much merit as somebody wants to put into it. In the United States, saying it's accredited at least recognizes that there is some educational validity to what is going on at, like, UOP, University of Phoenix. So, okay, Chadwick got to be accredited, right?
Maybe not so much.
Oh,
apparently,
God, man, can't we just get one thing to go the right way?
Well, I was never quite sure exactly when it was, what was legal, what wasn't at a certain time, but they were apparently operating out of Alabama. At least that was their address that you sent stuff to, and so on. And then at some point, Alabama apparently changed their laws, and Chadwick kind of got the boot out of there. Now, it turns out they actually had an address in New Mexico for a while after that. I didn't quite follow exactly what happened after that, but at the very least, as of now, it seems like Chadwick is no longer operating, no longer available anywhere. And in fact, here's the great thing: it is actually illegal to seek employment with a Chadwick University degree in Texas. If I put Chadwick on my resume and I had it to an employer in Texas, that's illegal. I suppose I could be prosecuted for that or something. I don't know. So
that's when you know it's bad. When you could be prosecuted.
When not only did you not get accredited, but states are going, you know what, if you even have the gall to write that down, we're taking you to jail.
Oregon and Michigan also classify it as an unacceptable institution for credentialing for those seeking jobs. So
now, again, a typical practice that happens with some of these smaller, more dubious for-profit colleges, again, not comparing it to a University of Phoenix, much bigger, established. You can have your own personal thoughts about them, but at the end of the day, there is some validity to the degrees that they're offering, at least according to the United States government. When you have these smaller ones, what tends to happen, Jason, is we launched the Mike Byrne Institute, right? And then when I get caught, I shut down the Mike Byrne Institute and I open up the Mike Byrne University. And then when I get caught,
Trump University,
I shut it down. And then I open up the Mike Byrne Votech School for Car Repair. And I keep going. At least this place has only had one name, right?
Well, that's the question. That's what we're trying to...
damn it!
This is where we're trying to figure out what Paragon Institute exactly has to do with them. Now, since they're offering like aid to Chadwick University students, and they're talking about having your records transferred or something or other, the basic thought seems to be that maybe Paragon Institute is going to be the continuation of Chadwick University. I say will be because they have a countdown on their site.
It already did change site names once, though. When it went from Chadwick Institute to Chadwick University in a whole rebranding process.
Okay,
which,
I missed that part. Okay,
yeah,
you got me on that. All right, I forgot about that.
And now it looks like it's becoming Paragon University in about a year.
Yeah, 384 days, 6 hours, 40 minutes, and 57 seconds, according to the countdown on their page.
Can't wait. So, Zach, I know I could see you right there. Well, has anybody called them? I can see the question right on your feed. Has anybody given them a call? Say, hey, are you affiliated with this? Because the names and the addresses and everything. Yeah, I did try to call them because they had a contact number, a phone number, an 800 number. And I'm like, this is a university. I probably won't get anybody to comment, but at least I'll see who picks up the phone, right?
Yeah.
So who picked up the phone, Mike?
Yeah, let me tell you about my call. So I call, and it rings 4 times and then immediately disconnects. You just ring, 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 beep, gone. Disconnected. All right. I dial it again. I immediately get a recording of this number is disconnected now. What, did I dial it wrong? All right, so I try it again. And it rings 4 times, and I get the beep, and I'm disconnected again. What the hell? And so I'm like double, triple checking, punch it in, and I immediately go to a disconnected recording again. I dial it back. I get another disconnected recording. I dial it back. It rings 4 times, beeps, and disconnects me. The phone number does nothing. Nobody picks it up, and that's if it doesn't tell you that it's disconnected. No voicemail, no answering service, no... You've reached the offices of Mike Byrne University. We're closed. Nothing. We'll see you in a year. Nothing. So let's reach out to email, Jason, and you reach out via email.
Yep, I sent Mr. Willis Adkins, who appears to be the man behind all this, behind the Indiegogo, and has, like I said, the same address as the Paragon Institute. So I sent him a few questions, and tried to. I didn't even really ask about are you a scam, basically?
Right. They were gentle questions. Just hey, what are the ties between some of these things?
Yeah, I mean the first 3 questions were like basic. Hey, how do you think you're gonna raise the money? What are you gonna do when you to make the game? Just basic game stuff. Then I asked him a little bit about how are you connected to this thing and so on and so forth. And that was 2 days ago. And nothing.
So you think it would end there?
Obviously, you got to wait for the counter to be, hit 0.
That's when I'll get the answer, right?
That's obviously when you're going to get an email. I mean, that's only logical, right?
You think it would end there, but it doesn't. We actually take travel across seas and hit Greece. Now, how do we get to Greece, Jason?
So apparently, as I just do random Google searches for Chadwick University or whatever, apparently this is what an article on Fox News, which great dependable news source, but whatever. It says, and I quote, the former state security of industry of Greece, who was in charge of spending billions of euros in the run-up to the country's debt crisis, claimed to have an MBA from Chadwick.
That explains everything.
So this guy apparently, you could at least conceivably says, got hired. He tries to apply for this job of State Secretary of Industry. On there is one of the things that says Chadwick University, and someone says, "Oh, that sounds great. We'll hire you." And then what happened?
Now there's another name involved in this one too, Jason.
Yeah, I'd have to look that up.
There's two names that you got to know. One is the person that's actually posting the Indiegogo campaign itself.
Right.
And then there's another name that is the one that is more tied to Paragon Institute itself. The common link between them is what? The address, right? That the guy's address on the crowdfunding matches the address for the university for Paragon Institute.
Or you're talking about the other guy that I linked you a little bit to on Wikipedia?
Yeah. It was a bigger name because
Well,
I don't think the guys in the Indiegogo campaign. He is not, at least from what I've seen, by name associated with Paragon Institute.
yeah, he's only got the address indicated. And then the other name was the person who apparently founded Chadwick University in 1989. His name was Lloyd Clayton Jr. He also apparently he is listed as, I'll take this, an American naturopath who established 3 for-profit educational institutions in Birmingham, Alabama. He also sells a business that sells herbal and homeopathic products. And he founded the Clayton College of Natural Health. His Wikipedia page also, one of the topics is diploma mill lawsuit settlement. So it says in November 2011, it was announced as many as 14,000 former students of the defunct Clayton College of Natural Health will split up to $2.31 million in reimbursement for tuition. So another link to someone sort of tangentially involved in all this, which just is another little like, I don't think I want to have anything to do with this.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Now, there are some things that we did not put in our story because as we got further and further out, the relevance became less and less. We're now talking about 2 and 3 times removed. But if you want some more bizarre stuff, too, go look at Chadwick University's actual accreditations that they did have. They didn't have any from the United States government, but they did. They were recognized by a few organizations within the state of Alabama, one of which the founder of that organization that recognized them claimed to be psychic, claimed to know where the lost city of Atlantis was. I mean, now you're 3 or 4 times removed from the crowdfunding, so we didn't put them in the piece, but it just got more and more bizarre by the minute. So here's what I want from you, Zach. Would you donate money to a campaign run by somebody to potentially build a company by buying assets that aren't for sale at an address for a formerly rebranded twice, maybe rebranded a 3rd time coming up, unaccredited university that has ties to the crash of Greece's economy?
I mean, someone has to pay their debt, right?
What are your thoughts on this, Zach? I mean, you can't make this up. If we would have tried to make a mock story, it wouldn't be this good.
You know, usually I'm just, when I'm lurking in like the MMOBomb staff chat and I see you guys talk, usually it's some random news, but lately it's been a bunch of these random, pieces of information. And then when the article came out, I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, you guys jumped down a serious rabbit hole, and I don't know how I'm going to fit this into a free-to-play weekly segment because it's so bizarre. Like, it's one of those things where you expect this type of stuff to happen, but when it actually does, and it's this deep, it's just incredible. It's a sight to behold, unless you don't.
More. There's even more.
Yeah, we'll get. Hold on. Yeah.
I know.
It's always the superhero games too. I was talking to one of my compatriots at one of our competitors today about this topic, and that was the point that we both made. It was always the superhero games. Much bigger audience, I guess, is what it is. But wait, there's more. Go ahead, Jason.
There's additional fallout from this.
Well, Zach, even better now. The guy who's behind all this, Willis Adkins. Would you vote for him for Congress?
No.
Well, you have the chance to.
If you lived in North Carolina in 2008, you had that chance. Actually, I lived in North Carolina in 2008.
Why didn't you vote for him, Jason?
He was not in my. It was not my district. I lived in Charlotte.
I would have pissed myself if Jason was like, "Oh shit, I did vote for him."
I'm just realizing this now.
I would have had to pause, get a towel. It would have been amazing.
No, okay, it was near Raleigh. Yeah, okay, so that's where Raleigh's area was. But no, he actually ran for United States Congress on the Libertarian ticket in 2008 for District 2 in North Carolina.
I'm sure he walked away with like 20% of the vote, split the ticket, as it were, right?
1.8%.
Oh, close.
But still, 5,377 people voted for him.
That's close. Wonder what the graduate count of Chadwick U is in relation to that number. I don't know. It's like, it's got to be a scam, right?
I mean,
here's the last
there's
piece.
a 1.8% chance that it's not.
Here's the last piece that kind of just the icing on the cake, Zach. Of course, this is a $450,000 target on a flexible goal. So the minute you put that cash up, gone. It does not have to make full funding for that money to be taken, Zach.
How many people donated to it? Like, what's the count right now?
Well,
I was going to look at that, but I completely forgot.
That's what I want to share with you here, because
oh god.
Because luckily, and I don't think it's a response to our reporting or anything like that. I think it's just common sense when gamers look at this particular Indiegogo and what they were trying to do with it on either launching it as is, taking Marvel stuff out, even supplying people with source code. I think enough people looked at it and were like, yeah, you're out of your damn mind. This is Disney and Marvel. So on its $450,000 flexible goal, $335 have been raised by 7 backers. And the only reason I even bring it up is because to me that's $335 more than this person deserves, in my humble opinion only, Jason.
Yeah, we had it at $305 when I posted the article, so it's made $30 in the 2 days since. So I feel bad for that poor schmuck. But.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I have been watching the backers themselves to kind of peek and see if I could tell any names linked up to other things. Right? Only 3 of them have names. The other 4 are anonymous, and the 3 that have names appear to be legit donations for people that have donated to other things and have been active Indiegogo people and Marvel Heroes fans. And one of the people that donated made a comment that they were donating so little because they were more a PS4 fan of this game, and this doesn't have any PS4 plans. So they seem to be, the 3 that I can verify, those seem to be legit. The other 4, anonymous, so I couldn't tell you if it's...
Troy didn't back it, did he?
No. Well, if he did, he's anonymous. That'd be... God,
That'd be hilarious.
I'd kill him. No more first looks for you.
He's got to save his money for Bless. I know.
I can't trust you, Troy. I can't trust you. You gotta go, buddy. So yeah, check out the article. We're gonna be. Oh, and by the way,
what else?
Epic Games. Also in the same state. I mean, the game's called Paragon, and the university, same city, Paragon Universe. I don't think they're connected in any way, but just a fun little fact. There's a lot of Paragons in Cray, North Carolina, apparently. So we'll be keeping an eye on it. Again, we have feelers out to try and get comments and questions answered from various people. I doubt it's going to go anywhere, particularly from the founders of the campaign themselves, but we'll keep you posted. I am heartened, though, Zach, that it appears us gamers were smart when we saw this. And just
surprising.
Said,
we need to write that on the calendar. I was expecting thousands of dollars when you were going to talk about that, and I was going to be very saddened by that, but 300, not bad.
Nope.
Not bad at all.
Nope. Speaking of thousands of dollars, we did finally get NCSoft's financials. A little bit late, weren't they, Jason?
Maybe a little early. Usually like second week, so it's like the 8th, it's 7th, 8th, you know.
Good. So we got their financials. Give us the rundown, Jason.
Guild Wars 2 is doing great.
Gangbusters.
Yeah, congratulations to them. They really apparently knocked it out of the park with Path of Fire. It's, as I said, it's their best quarter since Heart of Thorns launched. And before that, their best quarters came out like their first 3 quarters when they were just, crazy, printing money or whatever. So, I mean, really, it's a lot better than I expected they would do. I didn't think Path of Fire would really light it up that much, or maybe they just sold that many mount licenses. Who knows? Maybe people went for those loot boxes.
I don't believe you went there.
Could be.
I don't believe you went there.
Yeah.
Surprised, Zach? Because I'm going to say I kind of was.
Sorry, I'm stupid. When he said light it up, I kind of chuckled because, Path of Fire,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was stupid. But anyhow, I'm not too surprised. I mean, it did some good things. I only made it past the tutorial, but from what I saw of it, it was a lot better than Heart of Thorns introduction, at least. And I played a lot of Heart of Thorns. It just, I hated the way that was the whole, structured. Like, it was so vertical and so annoying to traverse. But Path of Fire seems more flat. Maybe flat earthers might enjoy it, but I don't know. I didn't expect it to do maybe this well, but I don't know. We'll see in the coming quarters. And I expect a huge drop off.
That's the key, and Jason and I already talked about this one too. Is okay, you had a really great quarter right on the heels of an expansion, which you did last expansion. Clearly, you know how to do expansions, but last year kind of proves you don't know what the hell to do after that. Can we expect some big changes in the way things are done this year over last year, Jason?
I think there's a reasonable chance of that, because the big issue that came out after Heart of Thorns, apart from like Zach kind of said, he thinks Path of Fire was a better expansion, which is kind of what I'm feeling, kind of the gist I'm getting. So apart from that, though, the big issue was after Heart of Thorns, they didn't do any content except for the raids. They brought out a raid wing like every 2 months or so. So it was like 9 months after Heart of Thorns launched before they actually did a new zone, new content, general PvE stuff that everybody could do. And that was especially a big deal because they'd gone 9 months without any content before Heart of Thorns. So it was 9 months of nothing. If you didn't like raiding, if you were into the open world stuff, it was 9 months of nothing. Heart of Thorns, 9 months of nothing. Now after that, they finally got into a pattern of doing new content, getting this new zone out every 2 to 3 months or so on. And they've done that already with one bit of content post Path of Fire. So probably should be getting another chunk, around the end of this month, maybe early next. So as long as they can keep up that schedule and keep up that cadence, I think they might have a shot at, maybe not staying quite at that level that they established this quarter with the the Path of Fire release, but at least not dropping down to their, record lows or whatever that they had, between the other two expansions.
I have to think that with Heart of Thorns, and especially with the raids, I wonder what the numbers were on those, like how much of a percentage of their player base actually cared. Because it could have been one of those things, World of Warcraft went through this phase where they started doing things and they realized a lot of players just didn't care about it. And so as a result, you saw the content patches being fewer and farther in between. And so there was some expansions that had like almost no content patches. Legion was a lot better in this regard. So I wonder whether or not they just hit that roadblock. But like, what do we want to do for our end game here? Because obviously players don't like this. Maybe we should try this. But then they had to sort of get an optimal and efficient, way to do said thing over the course of, every so, like a month or two, down the line, and a month or two again down the line. So I don't know. I wonder if that's the case. Jason, do you have any insight into that?
I could see a little bit of that. I think definitely they were a little, players in general were a little happier with like the pre-Heart of Thorns kind of content, the way they did that. And I think they went back to something like that with those content updates and are probably doing about the same thing now.
Yeah.
Was there gangbusters Q4 enough to make up for our concerns with Super Data's numbers on last week's show, Jason?
Not quite. According to Super Data, they still were about, they came about, the real Guild Wars 2 numbers came about $10 million short. Which on some level, you look like 77 or whatever, like 75 million versus 87. On one level, you say maybe that's not so bad, but the problem is they were already spotted the first 3 quarters of the year.
Yeah.
So you should have at least gotten a little closer to real thing when you were given. Basically, the difference was, I guess, if you want to take it out that, like, I don't know, 25 versus 35 million or something like that. So you probably should be a little closer than that. And then we'll talk about Blade and Soul.
Yeah, so what about some of the other games? Any surprises? I mean, Lineage probably did well. Lineage 2 probably not as well, but still on par with what it's been doing for a while. WildStar's in the trash.
I don't think WildStar even got mentioned. Honestly, I didn't even look for it.
Mobile's probably down a little bit because they didn't launch anything new.
Yeah.
So Blade and Soul, how'd that do?
Blade and Soul and really all the other games, Lineage 2, Lineage, Ion, they were all pretty close. Like there weren't any major movements. Ion was up, looks like about 20%. Other games were only different by like, 5 to 10% at most. So, and you talk about Lineage, of course, and that's kind of the weird thing is that always used to be like, oh my God,
yeah,
the powerhouse, huge.
Lineage 1.
Yeah, Lineage 1. Mm-hmm. So here are its numbers. Q4 2016, and this is in million Korean wons. Q4 2016, 118,000. Quarter 1, 17, 51,000. And the next 3 quarters, 33,000, 35, 33.
Like a collapsed.
So it's really it cut in half in one quarter, and then it just kind of steadied out then in that low 30s range. So it's still okay, but it actually was their third best game in the quarter behind Guild Wars 2 and Blade and Soul.
Man, what the hell was going on in Lineage in Q4 2016?
Yeah, I mean that wasn't that unusual. Like it was a little bigger, but I think it was like mostly in the 80s and 90s before that. So
that's weird.
They did. Yeah, I think they actually did say something about having some big holiday event or whatever, so that helped drive it up there. But I guess people did that and then just left or something.
Yeah. So Blade and Soul, how'd it do?
Blade and Soul, like I said, did about the normal thing, about what it usually had done. It had to have like a record-breaking quarter to match the super data expectations, and it came up only $30 million short.
Oh,
so.
Yeah, same ballpark. And
yeah, basically the same. So yeah, that was also not. That was a worse prediction even than the Guild Wars 2 one.
Any surprises, Zach? What do you think of the report as a whole?
I mean, it's not surprising WildStar is still in the dumpster. I think Guild Wars is probably the biggest surprise just because of the fact that, people were wondering how it was going to do with its second expansion, especially after Heart of Thorns didn't really have that great of a launch. I mean, people maybe enjoyed it initially, but it just fell off really quickly. So it's good to see Path of Fire at least, is getting Guild Wars 2 back in the news and also back in the financials in terms of good news. So Lineage, though, is kind of surprising. I mean, for it to slip like that, it's been sort of the moneymaker for NCSoft for a while, even though it's very old. It kind of makes you wonder if they're going to, how long it's going to take for them to get Lineage Eternal or whatever they want to call it now, to release over here in the West and also in the East. So I don't know. I don't even know if Lineage Eternal will be received that well for original Lineage fans. We'll just have to wait and see. Blade and Soul, I did see some content released for it, but not anything too extravagant over the course of the past few months. But yeah, I mean, it's predictable that it's going to continue its pace probably, or at least the next year, maybe year and a half before it starts to decline a little bit.
Nah,
one of the things I want.
I don't think you're going to see that on Blade and Soul. I think you're going to see Blade and Soul spike. You got to remember the console release is coming this year as well, and I think that's going to pull in a lot of money for at least one fiscal quarter. So I would expect.
Well,
I meant
continue pace.
Jump.
I meant continue pace as in like not collapse like Lineage has.
Oh yeah, I think you're going to see one quarter with some huge spike.
Oh yeah,
and then the leveling off slightly higher than what it's at now. I would agree there. Go ahead, Jason. You were starting to say
one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting. Like they actually break down their sales by region, and so for that quarter, and just I'm going to throw this out. They had in the U.S. and Europe about 51,000 million Korean won, 51,000. Now, Guild Wars 2 is about 35,000, and if I'm not mistaken, it's really not. They are in China a little bit, but I think their U.S. Europe would comprise, 98% of Guild Wars 2. Yeah. So if I see 51,000, I see Guild Wars 2 at 35,000. That's basically all Guild Wars 2's money right there, minus the extra 15,000 or 16,000. So that leaves everything else to be 16,000. Blade and Soul was overall
16,000 million Korean won.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep it a little simple there. Blade and Soul overall throughout the whole world was about 40,000. So that means that most Blade and Soul is getting maybe a third of its money from U.S. and Europe, and that doesn't count what they're getting out of, say, Aeon or probably just Aeon. Like Lineage 2 isn't around anymore. So yeah, but yeah, it's interesting to note that's because Blade and Soul got a really big bump when it launched in North America and Europe. So now apparently it's getting a lot less than that. So
be interesting to watch. Let's slide over to the weekly bombs. Zach, yours is absolutely 100% predictable. Go ahead and do yours.
Just a dub bomb to my Philadelphia Eagles for winning the first Super Bowl. Well, their first Super Bowl. Very good game. I was a complete wreck throughout the entire thing. No, it was so stressful. But I'm just glad that Tom Brady can't catch and Nick Foles can. So.
Jason,
I'm going to give an A-bomb, a very personal A-bomb from the depths of Davy Jones' locker at the bottom of the sea to Mr. Zach Sharps.
Ooh.
And I've given him this A-bomb because we talked about this a little bit on Twitter. I said, he started playing World of Warships, and I was like, dude, why don't you use my friend code? I was like, I only put it up, a couple months ago, whatever. And he's like, yeah, okay, I don't follow your Twitter all the time. I was like, okay, fine. So I look back at my old Twitter. I posted that last week of December, and then he started just a couple weeks later. Didn't use my friend code. We didn't get all the free stuff that we're supposed to get. So I'm really ticked off at him. A-bomb to Zach.
Gotta use those friends code, man.
and then I almost like haven't been playing it hardly at all too.
We still
Like,
could have gotten free stuff.
I know. I probably saw it and completely forgot because I never thought I'd be playing World of Warships, and then I did, and it's just
Can we put my friend code like in the comments, or maybe like right under here? Like, can you insert my friend code right here?
No.
Right here?
No.
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 You're not. Come on,
No,
man.
I'm not going to advertise. Put it on Twitter. It's working for you.
Obviously, yeah. Zach saw it.
I'm gonna give an A-bomb, and I'm like torn here because, like, first off, I had never heard of this site initially until yesterday, MMO Fallout. And that's not to disparage them. There's tons of sites I'm not aware of, and plenty of people in the world that aren't aware of MMOBomb. So I don't know how big or small any of the sites are. It's just not one that I was aware of. When Jason brought it to my attention that they had an article about the Marvel Heroes investigation that we had already written, and so we go and check it out, and headline, I have a hard time because the writer there, he does do occasionally a series about crowdfunding and scams and things like that. So, all right, maybe they just stumbled on this at the same time we did because they do cover this type of thing. And then I see the headline, and then I read the article, and then I go on Twitter and see when we posted ours and when it was tweeted out and when the writers started their investigation and everything. I mean, it's all clearly... You saw it on our site, and then you decided to dig further. And some of the details that we left out of our story because they started to get very third and fourth wing, they're in that story. So it should, at best, they saw our research and just took it a little further on their own and added the details we decided weren't worth it. And then they tweeted out to our big dog competitors, right? Massively OP and MMORPG. And Jason and I, we have friends at both of them from our travels for the year. So we kind of reach out and say, hey, look, here's the tweets, here's the timing and stuff. Clearly, this was our investigation. And so they both had sourced us anyway. Massively had sourced us from the beginning, and MMORPG changed their sourcing to attribute it the initial investigation to us. And I bring this up as an A-bomb only for one reason. I wouldn't even be talking about it, but I did reach out to MMO Fallout. And again, I don't know any of them personally. I wasn't aware of their site, and maybe until yesterday or the day before, they weren't aware of ours. They just happened to see a tweet that led to our thing. But there was enough there that made me think we were the launch pad, clearly the launch pad for their article. And so I reached out and just said, hey, we don't mind if other people use our materials or if they take our materials and expand on them. But based on the headline, the format of the article, some of the information brought there, the timing of our tweeting and your tweeting, if our article was a launch pad for yours, can you please just source our stuff? That's all. Just hyperlink us in there, And I get it, Jason. I don't want to source a competitor any more than I have to, and I'm sure massively in MMORPG. But at the end of the day, we're all professionals about this stuff too. And hell, I source MMO culture, even if it's stuff I could get access to, but I can't translate. They did the work, so I sourced them. If somebody writes an investigative... We've done editorials on other sites' interviews. Right? MMORPG does an interview with somebody. We write an editorial after reading something in that. We source that. We're not even talking about the interview itself. We're writing an editorial about something mentioned, but we source that. And in this case, I felt like it should have been sourced. Now, to be fair, maybe they just haven't gotten the email yet. I don't know. I've never interacted with them, but I kind of thought it was a bit shady. There should have been a source there from the beginning.
I don't want to be too mean to them, but I think they got your email and they just haven't got back to it because their site ranking is 100 times less than us.
Don't even worry about that stuff. Who cares? Yeah, there's sites that are a bajillion times higher than ours. We're a little podunk site too, so that doesn't bother me. It's just keep it professional. Hell, if you want to take an investigation we did and run in a different direction with it, or get more stuff and add in the stuff we thought wasn't pertinent to the piece, go for it. But at least say, hey, this is where we got it. So my A-bomb for sourcing, not to the site or to the writer themselves. Their piece was well written too. Elusive X Treasure says, "DeBomb to stash. Watched Troy's first look and decided to give it a go. I'm only level 5 as like the alt-aholic I am. I made one of every class, but I find it entertaining when I want something less intense. A-bomb to people being glad about a game dying. Speaking as someone who's had their game shut down, why would you wish that on anyone? That just makes you a horrible person. Regardless of what you think of the game, to someone somewhere, it was their game. Grow up. Oh, and on grinding, I get what Troy is referring to. The grindiness he references is the tedious and drawn out. I don't think anyone who played Final Fantasy XI could deny that you grind out mobs to level there." You're preaching to the choir here, Final Fantasy XI longtime fanboy, you're absolutely right. But in its heyday, no one called it a grindy Asian MMO, at least not that I remember. And I remember 4 hours killing Sahagan for a bard spell. Takes out her old woman cane. Back in my day, you had to DPS uphill both ways in the snow. Unfortunately, I've also heard people call leveling in Rift grindy. Rift, where you can just instant adventure to cap with minimal effort. I mean, really? So the meaning gets lost sometimes. I agree with Elusive here. To me, when I hear particularly an MMO player tell me a game is grindy, Zach, I immediately think of an Eastern, very grindy, heavy game where there is no point to the grind besides for there to be a grind. And not necessarily something like a Final Fantasy XI where the game was built very differently on its skill system, on its job system, and yeah, you had to kill a lot of monsters. They're both grinds. I get it. But
yeah, I instantly just compare it to Black Desert. Like, is it really a grind or not? I mean,
right. Go ahead, Jason.
Certainly not.
Jason, take the next one.
How much can I pay to avoid the grind that you put into the game? So I would pay to avoid it.
Well, yeah, that's another question too. Go ahead, sir.
All right. SSS says, great. I suppose he's talking about Paragon dying. So just already pissing off Elusive X Treasure. He says, great. MOBA genre is so boring and repetitive. It's sick to play over and over the same. More to come for good. People with brains need something smarter than MOBAs or CS, I assume Counter-Strike type games.
Zach.
Well, I mean, he spoke about brains and he said, CS type games. I mean, Facundo Povina, I totally butchered that. Sadly, Gigantic is criminally underrated. People just want to play popular games. No place for small studios. Looks like popular is greater than quality on online gaming. I don't think it's that. It's their horrendous launch on the Windows Store, and then they took a really long time to get on Arc, and then by then, no one cared. Yeah. But it is criminally underrated. I love that game. But
Boop Sensei says Gigantic is shutting down. Damn, man, that's about as sad as when Dawngate was shut down by EA. Such a good game that unfortunately didn't stand a chance. And I think that sums it up nicely. They tripped over themselves to the point that they didn't stand a chance anymore. Go ahead, Jason.
Proximities HD says Paragon had like 5 million players over the span of its lifetime. Epic Games failed Paragon by making the PS4 version on the same servers as the PC. The PS4 players are so bad that it makes the matches long, boring, and uneventful. Also, they've reworked the skills, cards, etc. system at least 4 times. It's like Paragon devs didn't know what direction the game wants to go. They even changed the whole entire map. Also, the queue times are only 2 minutes. As someone who played Paragon a lot, it didn't seem dead at all. Yeah, I did an article a while back, too, about how sometimes it's not even worth it to completely alter your game systems, some fundamental aspect, because when you do that, you're just going to wind up ticking off enough people that you're going to lose people. You're going to lose more than you would have gained for making a better game. So, but it seemed like they did it over and over. And I think Firefall is another game that was like that too. So,
Go ahead, Zach.
Squeezy says DeBomb for every bomb to Sir Blackburn. I laughed hard at Troy's retorts. Holy crap, I cannot speak right there. Jesus.
Yeah, he's taking some flack last week. Atacada, A-bomb to every game I like, shutting down or going into maintenance mode. Link Realms, Gigantic, Wildstar. I could have even got into Paragon with some friends of mine, but a prime example of why I don't put money into a game with uncertain futures. Plus, the regret of the ruination of Paladin's new system that I did put money into. It's still pretty depressing. Also, a second A-bomb specifically to Epic for shutting down one game and leaving the PvE aspect of Fortnite behind a paywall still, when Battle Royale is making far more than they expected. Yeah, Jason, there's something to be said for that the PvE Fortnite is still behind the early access purchase for a game that is going to be free-to-play, has always been advertised that at some point will be free-to-play, and it's now just hiding in early access forever.
You know, well, I don't know about forever, because I'd have to look and see when they said it was going to, because, oh god, I got the firewall when I tried to search on our site. But I mean, it only went into early access like in July, so I mean, it's been 6 months, 7, 8 months, which might be about what they were planning on. I'd have to look that up to see what they maybe originally said. Of course, all our news nowadays is Battle Royale, so I can't really tell. It'll take me a while to find that, but yeah, they might not be that crazy in terms of how long it's. If it goes another 6 months and they still haven't gotten into some sort of open beta or something, then
see, I disagree. Compared to other games, fine. I'll give you that it's not all that out of the ordinary. But to me, the state of that game, the condition it was in when I first got access to it, and the things they have changed and improved to now, I mean, they are not going to be making any big substantial changes to the PvE Fortnite experience at this point. They just aren't.
Have they fixed the inventory? Is it better yet?
They've made some changes to it.
Okay. I haven't checked it out for a while.
So I feel like it's just unnecessarily being dragged out. And it could be a resource thing, too, at this point, right? I mean, they could, hey, we're going to still develop for the PvE side of this, but damn, this went crazy on the PvP side, so you got to know where your bread is buttered, I guess. Go ahead, Jason.
And we have Student Yaoi saying, Mike, magicman 1, I'm hating Fortnite so much now for killing Paragon.
Yep, and it's hard not to say that's exactly what happened. Or at least a big factor in it. Our question of the week last week. What's the next game in the free-to-play space that's going to shut down, and why? Dragon Feathers says, love you, Troy B. Dragon Feathers posted a lot of stuff, so I had to pull, one thing here or two things there, that type of thing. Sorry, Dragon, we read it all, so you're not wasting your time. I just can't put it all on here. Love you, Troy B. The next free-to-play MMO that closes is Warcraft. Warcraft didn't even make the top 10. Dragon Feather, you're awesome, referring to our super data analysis last week. Technically, it's a free-to-play game. I mean, I could download it and play it for free. For free. It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. I love you guys. Dragon Feathers, we love you too.
Comment of the week. Thank you, Dragon Feathers.
Yep. Go ahead, Jason.
Ancient Roar says, I wouldn't be surprised to see EverQuest 2 maybe not shut down but go into maintenance mode. There isn't even a trade skill questline in the latest expansion. They say it's coming. My favorite MMO has become a game of lowered expectations. Was that something we wrote or that we saw on someone else's site? We were talking about that, or I think it might have been like a Reddit thread that I read, how they don't communicate a whole lot so much on EverQuest 2 anymore, and a lot of people are getting that impression that it's not headed in a good place.
Man.
So, go ahead, Zach.
Stefan1337, League of Legends is shutting down because they're taking their developers off working on the game to setting up some machines to do crypto mining, because apparently a farm of those makes more money in the long run. I mean, as of late, not so much, but
Romano British says SWTOR will last about 2 to 3 years before the new MMO comes out. That way people will just switch to the new one. Finishes up, Jason. Daniel has a counterpoint on this one.
Daniel Oppenlander says, why should SWTOR shut down when Disney is trying to buy EA?
Is that true?
I don't know.
I feel like that's something I would have seen. Just in my natural travels. If it were public knowledge in any way.
There's rumors Microsoft was looking into it, but
that's been on and off for a while.
Yeah.
Question of the week this week. Do you think a crowdfunding campaign, not one run by a university and psychics, but just in general, do you think a crowdfunding campaign could actually succeed at something like the Marvel Heroes campaign was allegedly trying to do. Do you think a crowdfund can save a retired game? You know, separate from petitions, actual crowdfunding, buy it out. We saw it didn't work with City of Heroes. I wouldn't give a dime to this Marvel Heroes campaign. But do you think there's a set of circumstances where that could actually work? Tell us about it in the comments below, or tell us why you think it just never work. It's too complicated, too many licenses. Nobody wants to give up their IPs. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget your weekly bombs while you're there. Dub bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad, or your questions for the panel. Until next week, Zach, what university can we find you at?
You can find me at the University of Twitter at Zach Sharps.
Indeed. Jason.
You can find me streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter. You'll find me on Twitter at WinterInformal, and I'm going to set my pinned tweet to my World of Warships friend code link. So anyone who wants to get in, you go there. We'll get stuff and shoot ships together and loot, but not Zach. You're not allowed anymore.
And a fun time will be had by all. I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. You can follow me personally on Twitter right there, at MagicMan1. But more importantly, while you're there, follow at MMOBomb so you can get all the great news, videos, giveaways, and fun investigations and editorials tweeted right into your feed. Until next time, gang, stay safe, and we'll see you on the servers.